The Big Picture, a Christian insight on the world of film, television and popular culture with magazine editor Ben McEachen and scriptwriter Mark Hadley. 3D glasses on, amps to 11, screens to maximum. Get ready for The Big Picture.
We've been celebrating a fair bit through this show, haven't we, Mark? It's time really to remember as we almost conclude the big picture for this week to get on more of a somber note. Actually, it'll be somber as I'm speaking because you're about to build up to something. Because this is where we remember that Oscar isn't perfect. No, actually, Oscar can be just plain old wrong at times. So without further ado, I hand over to Mark because he's going to give us the top 5 Oscar crimes and the winners. The winners, Mark?
The moments in which I stood up in the lounge room and almost kicked the television over. The point in which I stomped out into the started screaming incoherently at the neighbors.
We've all been there.
Not real words, just sound. Things like that because they'd just done what they'd done.
5.
Let me start by just telling you the 5th worst thing. I'm going to do this in time-based things. In 1998, there was a little award called Best Actress in a Leading Role. And now, basically...
A little award?
A little award
it's
I
really
like to
big.
call Best Actress.
Thank you.
The Academy Awards, this time, it basically gave us a real sort of view of what America's view of the world is. Because, picture it if you can, these are the sorts of things they had up. Meryl Streep was up for yet another nomination. Why not?
Yes.
She'd get every second one. Emily Watson was in there. And then you had the 2 big contenders. Cate Blanchett for Elizabeth, which was a phenomenal film about English history and the first Queen Elizabeth and the ultimate role she played in history. And Gwyneth Paltrow for Shakespeare in Love. And so as we're all waiting...
Just trying to remember who won that year.
As we're all waiting for Kate to go up and take her statuette, someone mistakenly reads out Gwyneth Paltrow's name. She gets up and gives the most inane speech possible, and why not? Because she
would have
wasn't
been as shocked as everybody else.
Who would think that Shakespeare in Love? But of course, this is America's view of history. I'm not trying to insult Americans per se, but as a general thing, that was crazy.
I am amazed that that's only number 5. That is the first Oscar crime I think of. That's only number 5. So
there are many, many more.
4.
For example, let's go to Best Picture 2002. Now, again, just recapping, some amazing things going on here. We've got Gangs of New York that's been nominated. Or how about The Hours for that incredible insight into the female mind spread across, basically 4 decades.
the one that Nicole Kidman won the Best Actress for.
Or that little ditty, The Lord of the Rings. It's just...
We've mentioned that once or twice on this program
earlier. If you want to be highbrowed, there was The Pianist, okay? Roman Polanski and the Holocaust. I mean,
Didn't that win that year? It didn't.
No, because you could have big issues or you could go with big dance numbers. So let's give it to Chicago. Why
did Chicago win?
Why would we worry about thinking about the Holocaust? Why would we talk about some of the biggest epic books of all times? Why would we even worry about America's own history or women?
There are women in Chicago?
Where there were, and if you want to compare how women are prepared in Chicago versus women in the Hours...
I was not drawing a comparison, just merely mentioning.
Let's give the award to Chicago.
3.
Of course, that's nothing compared to Best Actor in a Leading Role for 2006. And this was basically the greatest robbery of all time for a personal actor. Okay, I don't know how the studios
how is this not at
messed
number
this up.
1? Okay, keep going. Sorry to cut you off.
There are worse things to come, trust me. Okay, basically, this was supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio's year, okay, because he'd done Blood Diamond, but then he'd also done, by a different studio, The Departed. Okay, now these were searing roles, fantastic roles, probably the best acting that Leonardo DiCaprio has done in a decade, and they both came out in the same year.
Oh yeah, we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about The Revenant, and you're saying that effectively he diluted himself, DiCaprio.
He didn't, because this is what happens, right? Studios are not concerned with basically what was the best actor. They're thinking about the dollars that are attached to an Oscar.
It's about dollars, Mark?
So the competing firms get to business.
Goodness.
They're putting all sorts of gifting out there. Also, it actually raised into the headlines all sorts of things that, the Oscar voters could actually get for voting. I'm not saying there's direct bribery, but there's a lot of influence going on.
And we should point out that the Oscars are actually voted by members of the Academy who are industry members. They have to be invited to
They've got to be invited.
I think there's a couple of thousand.
There's 6,000 in total.
And they're spread across director, actor, right through to cinematography, that sort of thing.
97% of whom are Caucasian. And
Just saying.
And the male percentage is something like 78%.
Right,
so
wow.
this is not like a balanced crowd by any means. But basically what you've got, The Departed was an incredible film. Why was it? Look, Mark Wahlberg got Best Supporting Role. It was the best film, the best picture for 2006. But because the studios couldn't make up their mind about just going, oh, look, your film's better than mine, Leonardo DiCaprio's nomination for Blood Diamond just got swamped. Gone.
Okay,
and instead
so
they gave it to Forrest Whitaker for The Last King of Scotland, which was not bad, but I've just got to say, there you go.
Oh, so the crime is just the fact that DiCaprio didn't win.
Well, he should have. It's just ridiculous. He
should have got two statues by the sounds.
He should have stood up there. They should have gone, let's do a joint thing. For The Blood Diamond and The Departed, we're going to give you one. Or here's one for each. Bookends.
2.
But this is where I really get annoyed, because I'm just up till now I've just been tame.
Oh.
Now I'm saying the best.
That was just pleasant rant.
The best animated feature film in 2009 shows just how incredibly biased the Academy can be towards the big studio film versus, say, the much more independent or sort of side film, which is much, much better by comparison. Now, this is for parents who are looking for kids' films. There are all sorts of great kids' films out that year. Coraline was out, The Princess and the Frog, The Secret of Kells, and there were two big contenders. One of the best children's films ever made was Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson.
Yeah, that was a cracker.
Incredible.
Do you think the kids like it as much as adults? Though?
They do. My
Do?
kids are thrilled. They dance around and watch it. They name the characters they want to be. It's it's a great film. They love
just want
it.
to be Mr. Fox, right?
They do. No, actually, some of them want to be. Anyway, let's not get into it.
Yes.
But this is where the studio film. I think, shall we give it to a film that is basically innovative and incredible to watch and beautiful for adults and for kids and based on an incredible book and, Roald Dahl's sort of one of his masterworks and all that sort of stuff? Or why don't we just give it to a story about a pensioner whose house floats away? Yes, Up is this year, it was 2009's animated feature film. The classic case of the film appreciated by adults but not by kids. The perfect example of the studio machine mix-up where it's more likely to be a McDonald's, Happy Meal than it is to be actually a big win with kids. It was just a classic case of... we've got a great voiceover artist, we've got great writers. This is another one for Pixar. Hey, let's do Up.
Wow. So that's slotting in at number 2. Now
That's a crime.
And we've already had Shakespeare in Love, so I'm pretty baffled now about what you can actually pick for number 1. So here goes.
1.
Surprise us.
This took me years to get over. I'm not over it now.
And you get
Okay?
over things so well, Mark,
I
as we've
don't.
told as we learned by other top 5 lists in the past. Go to the Big Picture website.com. Check out some of the other top 5s Mark's done on the podcast. Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
But
a
this
guy,
one, you're still trying to get
I'm not a
past.
guy who holds on to a grudge.
No, Mark.
The best picture is a coveted award. There's no doubt. There have been some crimes in the past, where something weird jumps over really amazing things. Like, you could look at last year, for example, to be honest. 2014, when Birdman was a worthy film, but was it better than Boyhood, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, Whiplash? No, it wasn't. Okay, so strange things happen.
But that's not the number 1.
Nothing stranger than 2012, okay, where we've got... Okay, let's just think about this. Les Miserables. Okay, brilliant, incredible achievement in terms of film and music. Okay, fine. Or Life of Pi. I'll just say the title again. Life of Pi was an amazing film, an incredible film.
I won't interrupt your rant by saying I think that was overrated and
Thank
not
you
that
very
great.
much.
But keep
Don't
going with
interrupt.
Life of Pi.
Silver Linings Playbook then. Zero Dark 30, okay? Or Lincoln, okay? If you're going to go for epic, go for Lincoln. And here's a bunch of films that you could nominate. Django Unchained, which I don't even like, okay? Django Unchained got so raved about in 2012. What do we give it to? Argo, Ben Affleck, you're a criminal.
Now,
okay?
now, Mark, you should point out a little bit more about Argo, because I know we've talked about this film before,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you've raised it on the big picture
Okay, here's the
previously.
problem
A lot
with
of people
Argo.
liked that movie. It was very popular at cinemas and with a lot of critics too. What's your bugbear? Why is it number one on the Oscar
Because
crimes
it passed
list?
itself off as a true story and was a basic fabrication of what. And I'm not trying to say that people weren't smuggled out of Iran during the revolution,
Which is what Argo's about.
I'm trying to say that the Americans stole the credit for what the Canadians did. Basically, and Ben Affleck so messed up this storyline. I mean, the Canadians were the brave people, but they couldn't be because they're Canadian. So, and it's an American film and we're paying the dollars. So he so rewrote this storyline and inserted himself in it as a Mexican. Okay, I mean, come on. That he was so completely messed this up that in the end, the Canadian government, ordered an official protest to be presented, and he had to change the tagline of the film to say not only what a great moment this was for the CIA, but what a great moment of cooperation it was for the Canadian.
Yeah.
Cooperation, yeah,
That's right.
We
Well
did
done,
it,
little
and
Canada.
you took the credit. Well done. So to me, it is one of those moments where you go, if you're going to play with the words "true story," better make sure it is.
Wow, what a note to finish our.
I'm just going to sit down over here with my fan and glass of water now.
A note to finish our show on, that as we said right at the top of this top 5 list, it was quite the celebration. And now I'm about to play something from Argo where I better turn your microphone off because
I may scream.
you're very likely to scream at the screen.
Well, this one's got an MA in English. She should be your screenwriter. Sometimes they go along on scouts because they want the free meals. Here's your director.
You teach somebody to be a director in a day?
You teach a rhesus monkey to be a director in a day. Look, if you're going to do this, you got to do it. The Comaniacs are Fruit Loops, but they got cousins who sell prayer rugs and 8-tracks on La Brea. You can't build cover stories around a movie that doesn't exist. You need a script. You need a producer.
Make me the producer.
No, you're an associate producer at best. You're going to do a $20 million Star Wars ripoff. You need somebody who's a somebody to put their name on it. Somebody respectable. With credits. Who you can trust with classified information. Who'll produce a fake movie. For free.
The Big Picture is a Bible Society Australia production and part of Hope 1032's family of podcasts and vodcasts.